What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Alexander Volkanovski has firmly shut down all retirement rumors as he prepares for his upcoming fight at UFC 325 against Diego Lopes. In the lead-up to the event, Volkanovski made it absolutely clear that stepping away from the sport is not part of his plan right now. Instead, he's focused on delivering a sharp, clean performance, taking minimal damage, and setting himself up for a quick turnaround afterward. He emphasized that nothing about this fight has been discussed as a last one, and he wants fans to stop worrying about the possibility of him calling it quits anytime soon. Volkanovski explained that his mindset is all about momentum. He wants to step into the cage in Sydney, put on a strong and convincing performance, and keep himself active. He talked about adding more names to his resume, specifically mentioning Movsar Evloev and Lauren Murphy, both undefeated fighters who could add serious weight to his legacy if he faces and defeats them. To him, these matchups represent the kind of competitive challenges that keep him motivated and fired up, and he wants to keep pushing for those opportunities as long as he feels sharp and ready. He stressed that the goal is to handle business smoothly at UFC 325, show his improvements, and remind everyone why he's still one of the best to ever do it. Volkanovski said he intends to make a real statement in this fight, demonstrating that he's far from slowing down. Once this bout is behind him, he's open to quick scheduling, staying active, and seeing how the division shapes up. He made it clear that nothing about this fight signals the end of his career. If anything, he's looking ahead with more hunger, more ambition, and more drive to build his already remarkable legacy. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news. Arman is officially set to grapple Ferreira at Hype FC on December 30th, and fans are already buzzing about this matchup. The two will be competing for the 84 kilograms or 185-pound title in what's expected to be one of the most talked about grappling events of the year. The entire card will be streamed live on Kick, giving viewers a chance to watch Arman test his high-pressure wrestling and relentless scrambling against Ferreira's unorthodox, explosive style. This matchup adds a unique twist to both of their careers, especially with Arman continuing to sharpen his all-around grappling game, while Ferreira steps into a high-profile spotlight once again. And Ferreira didn't hold back on social media either, dropping a confident comment that simply said, "Pirate goes for gold." It's a bold statement, and it sets the tone perfectly for what should be an intense and competitive showdown. Moving on to another news, Merab went off on Petr Yan after Yan made some surprising comments in a recent interview. Late last night, Yan revealed that he doesn't actually control his own social media, and that many of the posts directed at Merab were written by his manager. Yan said, "Oh, he's probably speaking to my manager, so no, we won't be friends." That statement immediately sparked a reaction from Merab, who fired back hard on Twitter. Merab wrote, "Fans and friends, listen to this guy now. Petr Yan, never believe a word he says. He just admitted he doesn't write his own social media. He said he never wrote 'See you friend' or 'Speedy recovery friend' yesterday on Twitter. Wasn't him. How quickly he changed his mind. Thought he was humbled when I beat him in 2023 and I was friendly toward him. Forget it now. Liar. Game on." Merab didn't stop there. He also called out Yan for having what he described as fake friends. He wrote, "Hey Petr, you would be respectable if you really called me friend, but instead you choose these two as friends." He brought up Anatoly Malikin, saying the guy once bet him $50,000 and never paid like a real man. Then he mentioned another individual, explaining that the man cursed at his friend's mother, and when Merab slapped him in the face for it, the man took him to court instead of settling things directly. Merab made it clear that Yan's circle is full of people he considers untrustworthy. From the way things look, the tension between Merab and Yan is far from over. This feud is only heating up, and Merab seems determined to get his redemption after all the back and forth. Fans are watching closely to see how this rivalry develops and what the next move will be from both sides. Moving on to another news. Blaydes has stepped in to defend Tom Aspinall after the recent eye poke controversy involving Cyril Gane. With everyone online talking about the moment Aspinall was poked in the eye during their fight, a lot of the discussion has turned negative toward him. Many people claim the poke wasn't serious, insisting that Aspinall just wanted a quick way out against Gane. But Blaydes has now spoken up on the James Lynch show, making it clear that the criticism aimed at Aspinall is completely unfair. Blaydes explained that every UFC fighter is a lion, and lions aren't scared of one another. In his view, if Aspinall said he couldn't continue, then people need to respect that. He described how the poke happened, saying that when Yan pulled his hand back, his fingers dug in deep and caught Aspinall badly. According to Blaydes, anyone who has been in a cage knows how dangerous that can be, especially when it affects a fighter's vision. He emphasized that Aspinall isn't scared, he isn't weak, and he isn't the type of fighter to quit without a real reason. Blaydes said that if Aspinall felt like he couldn't see clearly, then he was right to stop. Fighting with compromised vision doesn't just make the situation unsafe, it practically guarantees that the outcome is determined by the injury rather than skill. Blaydes pointed out that if Aspinall continued and got knocked out simply because he couldn't see, the narrative would shift again, and people would still blame him. So, respecting his decision is the only logical approach. He also questioned the hostility surrounding the situation. He said he doesn't understand why people are so angry when every UFC fighter knows the risks and knows the difference between fear and self-preservation. To Blaydes, Aspinall needed time, and he made the right call. Lions don't fear lions, and UFC fighters don't back out because they're scared. Sometimes the damage is simply too real to ignore. The blame, if any, should be directed toward Yan, who had already reached toward Aspinall's face multiple times. When the final poke happened, both eyes were affected, making it even more dangerous. Aspinall chose not to fight with impaired vision, and that was the smartest and safest decision in that moment. Moving on to another news, Joshua Van has spoken out about Alexandre Pantoja's arm injury, which shocked the entire MMA world during their fight at UFC 323. The injury happened early in round 1, and many fans believe Pantoja deserves an immediate rematch because of how unexpectedly the moment unfolded. Now, in a recent appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Van explained that he also believes Pantoja should get an instant rematch if he's able to recover in time. But if Pantoja can't return soon, Van made it clear that he'll fight whoever the UFC puts in front of him without hesitation. Van also addressed the moment of the injury directly, taking responsibility for the break by pointing out that he caused it when he caught the kick. He said that some people don't like hearing that, but it's the reality of the fight game, and injuries happen in high-level exchanges. What mattered most to Van was the respect he has for Pantoja, calling him a great champion who always takes accountability for whatever happens inside the cage. For that reason alone, Van said he believes Pantoja fully deserves a rematch once he's healthy. During the same interview, Van talked about his goals as the new champion, explaining that he wants to stay very active, fighting at least 3 or 4 times next year. He compared that mindset to Merab, emphasizing that he performs better when he stays busy. According to him, staying active isn't a problem at all. In fact, it keeps him sharp and motivated. Dr. Brian Sutterer also appeared on the Ariel Helwani show to break down Pantoja's injury from a medical perspective. While he didn't have the exact details of the diagnosis, he explained that if the arm wasn't fractured and the injury was strictly an elbow dislocation, Pantoja might not need surgery. He noted that only a small percentage of elbow dislocations require surgical repair. However, the uncertainty comes from whether Pantoja's elbow was fractured, dislocated, or both. That information will determine how long the former champion will be sidelined. Dr. Sutterer added that whenever an elbow dislocates, internal structures almost always tear to some extent, which can also extend recovery time. Still, he explained that the elbow typically heals well on its own, restabilizing over time if the injury isn't accompanied by a large fracture. If a fracture is present, the joint is more likely to remain unstable and may require surgery. But if there's no fracture, it's rare to need surgical intervention for this type of injury. Moving on to another news, Joe Pyfer has made it clear that he's not interested in fighting Brunno Ferreira, even after Ferreira's recent unanimous decision win over Marvin Vettori at UFC 323. Pyfer explained that he worked hard to break into the rankings, and now that he's tied for number 15, he wants someone positioned higher, not someone on the same level or below. When asked directly if Brunno could be a potential matchup, Pyfer shut it down immediately, saying, "No, I'm not interested." He went on to explain that he understands how the rankings work and that he earned his spot by fighting tough opponents. Now that he's finally inside the top 15, he wants the next step to be meaningful. Pyfer pointed out that the rankings recently updated and showed Brunno's picture over his, joking that it probably meant he was the uglier one. Still, he emphasized that he's tied for 15 and wants someone ranked above him, not someone who just scraped by in what he called a boring decision. He also mentioned that RoboCop is sitting at 14, and depending on how the rankings shift, either Brunno or Pyfer could end up bumped to that spot. But Pyfer doesn't think Brunno deserves the jump, given how underwhelming his performance was. He made it clear he wants to fight real contenders, fighters who push him upward rather than keep him stagnant. For Pyfer, the goal is simple: move forward in the division, take on tougher names, and keep climbing. A fight with Brunno Ferreira doesn't do that for him, and he doesn't plan on wasting time on a matchup he believes offers little reward. Moving on to another news, Aljamain Sterling opened up about what really happened behind the scenes and why he believes Merab didn't get enough time to properly warm up before stepping into the cage. According to Sterling, everything about their pre-fight routine was thrown off because the Joshua Van versus Alexandra Pantoja fight ended far quicker than anyone expected. They were pacing themselves based on the assumption that the co-main would last long enough for them to warm up the usual way, slowly building intensity before tapering down and then preparing to walk out. Sterling explained that during the Moreno fight, they were thinking, okay, as soon as this one's done, we'll start getting ready. So they began their routine, expecting a normal window. They got about 15 minutes in, maybe even a little less, working through their typical warm-up drills, breaking a sweat, activating Merab's movement, and preparing his timing. Everything felt on track until chaos hit. Pantoja suddenly dislocated his elbow, and Sterling said the unexpected stoppage completely disrupted their rhythm. That injury was such a curveball that it cut their preparation short and forced them to rush the final stages of the warm-up. Sterling emphasized that they didn't have the chance to build up, bring the intensity down, reset mentally, and then turn it back on, which is exactly how Merab usually prepares for a high-level fight. He said Merab looked ready, he was sweating and seemed good to go, but the timing was all wrong. Sterling made it clear that even though they tried to adapt, it simply wasn't the ideal preparation. The abrupt ending of the previous fight and the sudden shift backstage left them with no real opportunity to settle into their usual pre-fight rhythm. That unexpected disruption, according to Sterling, played a significant role in how Merab entered the octagon that night, and it wasn't the scenario they had trained for or anticipated. Moving on to another news, Francis Ngannou has revealed that he will soon become a free agent and is open to discussions with the UFC about a potential super fight with Jon Jones at the White House. During a recent interview, Ngannou explained that he is getting very close to finishing his current contract with the PFL, and once that wraps up, he will have the freedom to explore other opportunities, including the high-profile showdown with Jones. Ngannou confirmed that his PFL contract is nearing its end, saying, "When I say close, I mean close to the end, soon." He emphasized that once his obligations there are fulfilled, he could fully consider the White House super fight as a viable option. The interview highlighted Ngannou's interest in making this matchup happen, noting that it would be one of the biggest fights imaginable and generating massive excitement among MMA fans around the world. When the topic of Jon Jones came up, Ngannou acknowledged that there had been discussions on social media about the fight, confirming that it has always been a goal of his to face Jones. He stressed that timing is key, and the alignment of his contract ending with the scheduling of the White House event could make this dream fight possible. Ngannou's comments make it clear that he is focused on keeping his options open and seizing the chance to compete at the highest level once he is free from contractual obligations. He is positioning himself for a potential return to the UFC, targeting a matchup that would undoubtedly be historic, with both fighters bringing massive star power and elite skill. The possibility of Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones at the White House is now on the radar, and fans are eagerly anticipating how negotiations and timing will unfold. Moving on to another news, Joe Rogan has publicly pleaded with Dana White to include Jon Jones on the upcoming White House card, reacting to former President Donald Trump's recent claim that the event would feature 8 to 9 title fights. According to Trump, the card will showcase the biggest fights they've ever had, with every bout being a championship fight. On the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan questioned the logistics of the plan, pointing out that there are only 8 weight classes in the UFC, making it unclear how 9 title fights would even be possible. Beyond the numbers, Rogan made it very clear that he strongly wants to see Jon Jones compete on the White House card, emphasizing how much of a travesty it would be if Jones were left out. Rogan acknowledged Dana White's concerns about putting Jones in a high-pressure spot, saying, "I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong." Despite this, Rogan argued passionately that Jones deserves the opportunity, insisting that excluding him would be a major mistake. He repeatedly stressed, "They need to do that. Come on, stop, at the White House. Come on." The MMA community has taken note of Rogan's comments, with many agreeing that Jones is one of the most exciting fighters to showcase in a special event like this. Rogan's plea reflects both his respect for Jones's skill and the potential historic significance of having such a high-caliber athlete featured on a widely publicized card. Fans are now eagerly waiting to see if Dana White will heed Rogan's advice and make the highly anticipated matchup happen at the White House.